Hey everybody, it's me Marquita. It is 12:22 a.m. So technically Sunday, March the 23rd. Um, I don't know if y'all remember me in my earlier video, and you can't see. Remember that wall over there? Anyways. Earlier it was that neighbor arguing, fussing and fighting. Now it is the neighbor that we share. They share a bedroom. Well, my bedroom wall. I'm guessing their bedroom wall. Anyways. So earlier it was my neighbor that I'm assuming that their steps wall that we share, like their steps is on the same wall as our steps, because I can hear them going up and down their steps. They were arguing earlier when I made my early video. Now the neighbor that is connected to our bedroom wall is arguing, fussing and fighting. And I'm thinking that neighbor, their whole apartment's upstairs. So they don't have it downstairs. Hence why, we share a bedroom. I mean, not hence. Maybe that's why everything is so loud, because they might be in their living room. But since their whole apartment is upstairs, they're just in their apartment. And then their next door neighbor that's right beside them don't have it upstairs. Their whole apartment is downstairs. So I'm making this for records. It just slammed the door. I wish my headphones would pick it up so that I would have proof of what we're talking about. But like I said, it's midnight. And both sides, or either side, one of them is constantly fighting at night. It's not always the apartment that we share a wall with, the bedroom wall. It's not always that apartment. Right now it's that apartment. Earlier, it was the other neighbor that's beside us. My kids don't feel safe here. I don't feel safe here. Like I said earlier, my kids is not used to this. We might live in public housing, but that don't mean that we don't deserve to feel safe in our apartment. That don't mean that we don't deserve to have a peaceful night's sleep. At that other apartment, we didn't have an upstairs. It was all downstairs. And we had neighbors. Like the bedroom, we shared, in each bedroom was shared with our next door neighbor. And the worst thing that I can say about that apartment that we just moved from up the street was when they decided to smoke cigarettes. I'm assuming it would have had to been their living room, because my bedroom wall was their living room wall. So that was the worst thing that I can think, because I never heard them. I did hear people knocking on the door. If somebody came to their front door, because my bedroom wall was right at their bedroom, at their front door. Like I heard them knocking. But I never heard arguments. I never heard fighting. And like I said, they might have been in their living room smoking cigarettes, which I could smell in the bedroom. Because it's like it came through, and I know that it can come through the actual plug, because my very first apartment that I lived in, um, East Fifth, or like East Fifth off of Magnolia. Anyways, my very first apartment that I lived in was like an old house. Like it was a house, and then they got the house and they made apartments out of the house. So I had a neighbor that she had an efficiency apartment. So when you walk in, and if you don't know what an efficiency apartment is you walk in her front door, or you walk in her door, and her living room, kitchen, bedroom was all in one room, almost like a studio. And then, of course, her bathroom wasn't in open space. It had a bathroom door. So you walk into her apartment, and you're immediately standing in her living room, her kitchen, and her bedroom, because it's all one room. And then her bathroom was like, it wasn't in her living room. Like the door was, obviously, but like right across the hall, her neighbor, or the neighbor that was right across the hall from that neighbor, also had an efficiency apartment. But the one that I shared, like it was my bedroom wall and her living room, bedroom, kitchen wall, like we shared that wall. And she smoked like a chimney. Like she smoked at least like 4 or 5 packs of cigarettes a day. Like, so she was like the chain smoker. Her name was Dorothy. I don't think she's alive. And if she is, I hope she's doing well. Because that apartment was, I'm trying to think of how to explain it. It really wasn't for older people. Like, it wasn't like a nursing home. It wasn't like an assisted living. Like, it was apartments. But when I lived at that apartment, um, like I was 18. And then the next youngest person that lived in them apartments was 48, I do believe. She might have been 50. Her name was, and I'm only going to say her name because I do believe that she passed. And her name was Margaret. And oh my, I don't think she smoked, but that woman ate onions like they were apples. And I told Gary, when I very first met Gary's granny, she reminded me of Margaret. And I asked, and I asked Gary, of course, if he knew her. Like, I know he didn't know her. Like, I didn't know Gary at the time. But Dorothy was, or not Dorothy, sorry. Margaret. I know, I was getting to it. Yeah. But Margaret was like a little tiny woman. But she looked just like Gary's grandmama. And I remember when Margaret told me, she goes, and I don't know why she told me this, But she was like, yeah, I didn't walk for the first 5 years of my life. And I was like, oh, really? What happened? Like was something wrong with your leg? She goes, no, I was just a sickly kid, so everybody would put me on their pillow and carry me around. I'm like, what? But she told me that. And so for the first 5 years, she didn't walk because, like, her mom and her dad, would put her on the pillow and carry her room to room. But she knew how to walk. They just didn't want her to walk because she was so sickly. Anyways, she was a sweet woman. And I'm thinking, and literally, I have had this dream, like in real life. Like, this was, okay, so I graduated high school in 2002. I graduated college also in 2002. So, May of 2002, I graduated high school. Then I started college August of 2002 and graduated October of 2002. I went to a tech college and I took CNA classes. So it was only a 3 month course, and that's all it was. It was like 3 months, and then you take the state board, like you take the state board test, and of course if you passed, then you're CNA. Anyhow, and I took it. What, buddy? What? That's my foot. I moved my foot. I guess, buddy. It's look. It's buddy. Now you got me curious. What are you looking at? No, he's looking at the floor. I don't see anything, buddy. What is it? Huh? I don't know. He just hopped up. Like when I moved my foot, now he's just staring. What was I saying? Oh, and so like, you know, I was done with school by October, but I don't know if they just let her or whatever, but she literally, Margaret, this is, she used to go to the Board of Education, to get her GED. So she would go to classes. She would take the test to get her GED. She would pass the test. But then when it was time to enroll into school, like for the next year, she re-enrolled to take GED classes. And they were like, yeah, she's been doing that for like the last, I think it was like 8 years by that time. This was in 2002. But she literally kept going to school, even though she passed her GED. She would just re-enroll into school after she finished. And when I say I had that dream multiple times, was I had dreams that I would walk across this, walk across this. Now they're starting. Now the neighbor that I was talking about earlier, that we share a wall. No, that might not be them over there. It might be this one still, Gary. But it sounded like that they were moving something over here, that we shared the same wall as the steps. It sounded like that was moving over there and not behind us. It might be both of them. Now, okay, now he's fucking crazy. That's what he said. No, I'm fucking crazy. I wish my headphones would pick it up. It might be both sides, Gary. Because it sounds like that man. It sounded like that man that was yelling earlier. That's what it just sounded like. But then it also sounds like it's the ones behind us. And it ain't no way that, like, that they can be arguing because they don't, like, we're in between them. And their door faces the road, like our door faces the road. And the ones behind us, their door faces the opposite direction. So it ain't like, I mean, if they are arguing, I wouldn't be able to hear it in both apartments. Unless they were like outside, but it don't sound like they're outside. Huh? Yeah, I know. Like I said, it's probably 1 o'clock now. Nope, it's 12:39 a.m. Guys, I hate it here. I hate it here and I hate it here. Anyhow, that's all I wanted to say. If I come back, then that means that they started again.